Okay guys, we got internet working now, so this is gonna be a part 2 video of the first one. So if you didn't go see it, you don't really have to, but if you want to, you can. And this is gonna kind of be a recap and a better version of what I did in part 1 now that we have internet. So first, let's just address this wallpaper, because I had the idea that every new video I make I can have a new wallpaper. So that's this thing here. So since I have Age of Imprisonment, this is going to be our Age of Imprisonment video, our wallpaper for today. And for those that don't know what Age of Imprisonment is, because you're living under a rock or just don't play Zelda, let me inform you. Okay, so don't mind this. All I need to do is this. Beautiful. Let's see here. Yep, Age of Imprisonment. Now we just add Zelda. Okay, so you guys that don't know, it's Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is a canonical Hyrule Warriors is a canonical Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is not an action adventure game for the Switch 2, developed by Koei Temco. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. With support from Nintendo that details the backstory of the Imprisoning War from The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Princess Zelda, transported to an earlier time, joins forces with King Rauru and the first sages who fought Ganondorf's invasion and prevent the destruction of ancient Hyrule. The game features epic battles, the use of sacred stones to amplify abilities, and mechanical narrative that leads directly into the events of Tears of the Kingdom. And one of the first things I'm going to do is watch both trailers, which I already did that in one of my videos, and I'm just going to do it again because you have to watch the trailers to know everything you need to know about Age of Imprisonment. So let's just go ahead and trailer. Let's watch the first trailer. It came out like 3 or 4 months ago. Yep, here we go. Let's just watch this.
When the Zonai, who descended from the heaven...
Now it's restarted.
When the Zonai, who descended from the heavens,
already seen all this
joined
many
hands
times
with the Hylians, who dwelled on the surface. Their union led to a great and prosperous kingdom. But in time, a terrible evil arose. A war was fought to vanquish this evil, one which future generations would call the Imprisoning War.
Perhaps you truly have traveled back in time.
So that's Hyrule Castle?
The original Hyrule Castle.
Then that must mean this really is the past.
Yep, so that's the first trailer. Which, yeah, there's no official release date still, coming this winter. Now, the second one that came out, yeah, like 3 weeks ago.
Given an opening, he will bear his fangs. Until Hyrule itself is no more.
Be that as it may, we face it together.
But you sought it from Hyrule of all places? This is madness!
There is danger here. Enormously so.
And yeah, we're gonna talk about that later. Now that's the second trailer. Okay. Now, first thing we can talk about is the character roster, and we can see here that from the trailers that our confirmed characters are going to be Rauru, Zelda, Mineru, and all the ancient sages. Don't know about Queen Sonia. She could be, judging by how this looks right here, but that also could just be a cutscene. Possibly Ganondorf, because in Age of Calamity you could play as Calamity Ganon, but if they want to keep it actually canon, then I don't think they would do Ganondorf. And then there's gonna be a bunch of other characters that we either know or don't know. One of them is the new construct, which now I can go back to here and just pause on this one moment. Look at that. Enhance image. Look at that. Viewer, if you can enhance your image somehow, please do. Take a look at that. Take a look at that eye shape, and then that nose. Yeah, look at that nose. Look at that, those feet. It has 4 toes. Look at that plate. Look, and then the hands. Even the hands have little points at the end. And then the arm, the golden neck brace. And now let me show you this. Do you not see how similar they are? They're so similar, it's just not even funny. Like, even down to the patterns, because even the mask showed that same pattern. Like, yeah, you can see right there, yep, And then the golden neck brace. Now, I don't think it showed it having earrings. No, I don't think so. But even these little things, like, this is a blurry image. Okay, there we go. You can see that he has sharp fingers, and then also has 4 toes. Same armor pieces, even the same body shape. So that's why I personally believe, and many other people believe, that the new contract is the ancient hero, but some people believe that it is Fi. And the only reason people think it's Fi is because it's playing Fi's theme in the background, which we haven't seen Fi since Skyward Sword, because no other Zelda game has Fi in her spirit form. Is she still in the Master Sword? Yes, because in Tears of the Kingdom, you can, literally in the beginning of the game, the Master Sword glows up and plays that sound that it does in Skyward Sword when you try and talk to Fi. But she hasn't got out of the Master Sword in her spirit form since Skyward Sword. So I don't know how that would even make sense at all. So yes, she's still in the Master Sword, but no, I don't think she's the construct. She's just in the Master Sword still, I think. And the construct looks way more like this. But anyway, that's kind of the character roster. You can also see right here, I just love these little details and pointing them out. Now, I don't know if this is gonna be another thing. Will Age of Imprisonment have a DLC? Because Age of Calamity had a DLC, and the reason why it did is to add on to the story it already had, and also to get more characters in the roster. And I think this is what I kind of think, that by the looks of it, I think Age of Imprisonment might not have a DLC and just have everything in the game already, like in the base game, just like Tears of the Kingdom did, because Age of Calamity Breath of the Wild had DLCs, and that was adding stuff they didn't have already. But Tears of the Kingdom already had all that in the base game, and no DLC needed. So I'm wondering if that's true, then it's probably the case with Age of Imprisonment. There's not going to be any DLC, and it could be the base game. And the only DLC we could possibly be seeing is just the construct here could be a DLC. But from the looks of it, it looks like a main part of a game where you just awaken this construct. And okay, some people also feel let's see here. Don't mind this. This is wrong. Here, what if I just put Age Imprisonment instead of the short version? See what happens. Don't mind how I spell. Okay, there we go, better. So, yeah. Character roster, we have Zelda, which is confirmed. Rauru, which isn't confirmed. Mineru, which is confirmed. Sonia, I don't know. Either she's just a companion until she dies, or she's a playable character until she dies. Either one. And then we have the Sage of Fire, Sage of Lightning, Sage of Water, and Sage of Wind are all confirmed playable characters. And then, like I said, Ganondorf and Demon King Ganondorf could be playable characters, just how you could play as just how you can play as the Calamity Ganon in Age of Calamity. But if they're trying to keep a canon unlike Age of Calamity, I don't think that would happen. Now, Tanoke, and then the other one I forgot. It's like Tanoke and Tanake, I think. They actually might be playable characters from the type of characters we get from Age of Calamity. So these two might actually be playable characters. Don't know how would you get them though, or why they would help you. So again, if they want to keep it canon, I don't think they would help. But then you could also make them help in a way, I guess, in certain missions. Then you got the Ancestor, the Ancient Hero, which, again, there's theory saying it's the Ancestor, the Ancient Hero, and then some people are saying it's the Ancient Hero, and then how this whole entire timeline, how the Ancient Hero was asleep in the original Shrine of Resurrection, and how the Shrine of you have the Shrine of Resurrection on the surface, but then you have that place under the Shrine of Resurrection, with all that spring, and the heels link up, and then there's a bunch of collapsed buildings and structures in that area, and people are theorizing that might be where the contract was originally located. And that's how the Ancient Hero kind of slept, because the people are saying the Ancient Hero lived in the time of Hyrule's founding, but he was badly injured, so his body was healing in that area, and then they just took his spirit and put in that contract to help in the Imprisoning War. And then when he finally woken up, it was the first Calamity, when his body fully healed, and that leads into Breath of the Wild, and so on. Child of Rauru and Sonia. I don't know if they're going to be playable, but I sure know that we're going to see them in the game, because if Sonia and Rauru, the first king and queen of Hyrule, both die, and then Zelda is a princess and still alive, that means they have to have a child. Don't know if it's going to be playable, definitely know that it's going to be there. Minor original villain? I don't even know. Ancient Impa. Why would Impa even be? No. I don't see how would Ancient Impa be in Age of Imprisonment if you already have the Elder Impa in Tears of a Kingdom helping Link with the geoglyphs. She can't just be two places at once. That just seems weird. The Light Dragon? I don't really think so. Or maybe it's at the end of a game after the events of the Imprisoning War, and then it's the end of a game, and then you get to play as Zelda going up to the pedestal and swallowing her secret stone to become a dragon, and then you can just control the dragon all the way up to the clouds, and then maybe that ends the game, but I don't really know. Yeah, here's a screenshot of all the playable characters we know are confirmed. Ooh, yeah, someone says maybe you can play as a construct. I don't see why not. So, yeah, I feel like we might be able to play as a construct too, but I don't know how they would attack, and also how would you unlock it. but it's whatever. And yeah, some people are saying that Terrico from Age of Calamity might come back in Age of Imprisonment. And let me tell you, Age of Imprisonment is supposed to be actually canon, unlike Age of Calamity. So if you're saying that Terrico is going to come back to Age of Imprisonment, did you even hear what Nintendo said, that it's canon? Like, Terrico created the Age of Calamity shenanigans we already know. We don't need any more in Age of Imprisonment. And yeah, that's some of the shenanigans right there, being able to play as that. Yeah, this is their kind of like a combo attack from one of the trailers. So now we can kind of talk about locations. So we can talk about Zelda Age of Imprisonment map. See if we can get any good ideas. Because yeah, we have this, which is the ancient Hyrule Castle. But I found something out. In Tears of the Kingdom, and when Link gets a Light of Blessing, I noticed that there's 4 pillars around where the thing is, where the statues are, and those 4 pillars actually represent these pillars here. And then when the thing goes down, like when the thing goes up and then it goes down, it actually looks like the ancient Hyrule Castle, or some also think that looks like the Temple of Time. It looks like either one, but that's still kind of a fun fact. Looks like this person playing Breath of the Wild. Don't really care, because we're talking about Age of Imprisonment, because this is the real deal. Oh yeah, weapons. So in Age of Imprisonment, everyone had a starter weapon or beginner weapon they had, but then as you played more missions with them, you unlocked new weapons for them that either were completely new weapons, similar weapons, or just an upgraded weapon you already have. And I'm feeling like either Nintendo just makes it where they have one weapon and then you can upgrade it or make it stronger along the way, or they just did it Age of Calamity style with all the different weapons and similar ones and stuff like that. Like maybe Rauru, this could be Rauru's base spear, and then maybe you can get a different one that's even bigger or stronger or something like that. I don't really know, but it would be cool if they did it, play it out like that. And let's see here. Don't think there's anything else here that we need. Another thing is, we can talk about, possibly the amiibos that are gonna come with it, because if you search up, Zelda Mineru amiibo, you can see that let me just search that. Come on, Google. You're better than this. You're better than this. Okay, there we go. The Mineru Contract Amiibo is a figurine from the Legend of Zelda series that, while officially unreleased, has its data coded into Tears of the Kingdom. Scanning the amiibo, either the unofficially tags or when they eventually release, provides some exclusive in-game rewards, which I already know what it's going to be. And it's going to be a paraguay of fabric, just like these guys. Because these guys drop a paraguay of fabric. This is the Sage of Wind, Sage of Fire, Sage of Water, and Sage of Lightning paraguay of fabric. And if you don't know how those look, I can show you in a second. And you're going to have... And this one came out for Tears of the Kingdom. This one hasn't released yet, so I don't know. But people are speculating that the Mineru amiibo could be releasing with Age of Imprisonment, and instead of the Mineru amiibo being the Tears of the Kingdom one, it could be the Age of Imprisonment one, which looks cooler, I guess. Here, and now I can show you the fabrics. Tears of the Kingdom, new Sage. Fabrics. Yeah, here we go. Here's the Sage of Water. Sage of Water fabric. Sage of Wind fabric. Sage of Lightning fabric. Sage of Fire fabric. And then this one's going to be the unreleased one. No, but this is going to be the Sage of Spirit fabric, which when it comes out, I'm going to be rocking this one because I like how this one looks. And I'm doing a Tears of the Kingdom playthrough with the Ancient Hero, and then this paraglider would go perfect with that. But then you have all those. So you have the Sage of Wind, Sage of Fire, Sage of Water, Sage of Lightning, and Sage of Spirit, and you have all those fabrics. And then if you want to show your favorite sage or just like the design, you can have all those from the amiibos. Now we can see here, we can talk about I guess enemies, but you kind of already know what enemies are going to be in the game, because the enemies in the game are just going to be the exact same enemies in Tears of the Kingdom. And if you haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, then I can just show you. Let's just go here and yeah, the goblins, you have the common red bokoblins, and the goblins of any color, and then you have boss bokoblins, which are the larger ones, and then you have Gibdos and Choo-Choos, and then you have Parablins, Keys, Zaphos, Moblins, Octoroks, Heblets, Wizrobes, Giga Clan, Evermeans, Likes, Zone Contract, Soldier Contract, Captain Contract, Flux Contract, Frox, Gleox, Hinox, Moduga, Stone Towers, Gloomspawn, which I hate that name, I love saying Gloom Hands, because it's not a spawn, it's the hands. Main bosses, which I don't, maybe we can fight these bosses for each stage, or maybe I don't really think these bosses or enemies are gonna be in the game at all. Maybe they would be, like Ganon, like as soon as all the stages are together, they could be trapped or their region has gone wrong with the same bosses. So you can have to fight Kogera, Marble Goma, Mukdarok, Queen Gibdo, and the Seas Construct. And then those are all the enemies of the game. Now you're gonna have this. So in Age of Imprisonment, you know you're gonna have the surface and the deaths from both seen in both trailers. I don't know about the sky though, because in Age of Imprisonment or in Tears of a Kingdom, most Zonai stuff was in the sky because Rauru sent in the sky, so it's out of reach of Ganon and corrupting it with his malice and gloom. But all the Zonai stuff might just be on land in Hyrule's founding because that was before the Imprisoning War happened. So maybe where the Hyrule in the Age of Imprisonment is gonna look very different, and we can already see that from both trailers showing the original Hyrule Castle. And let's see here. Another thing to do is themed switches, because I think the only switches we have right now are the black switches, and people are wondering if there's going to be themed switches, which I don't think there's actually no evidence that proves there actually are. But I think with the way Nintendo does things and the way they're going, I think they're definitely going to do theme switches. And there could be an Age of Imprisonment theme switch, a Legend ZA theme switch, and then also the bundles because they already have the Nintendo Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World bundle and Nintendo Switch 2 plus Legend ZA bundle, and then they could possibly do Age of Imprisonment bundle, and so on and so on. So that's just a short thing to say. And let's see here. Another thing is and we can see here and talk about the timeline, because if you search up Zelda Age of Imprisonment timeline, and let's see what it says. Oh, come on. There we go. Now let's see what it says. In Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, it's a canonical game that takes place in the distant past during the era of myth, focusing on the Imprisoning War that occurred before the founding of the Kingdom of Hyrule and signified before the 10,000-year-old Calamity featured in Breath of the Wild. The game's events are tied to the story Tears of the Kingdom and are expected to fill the gaps about Rauru's Hyrule and time leading up to the kingdom's establishment, unlike Age of Calamity, which created a diverging timeline. Age of Imprisonment is canonical story that is part of the established Zelda timeline. Key details. Setting: the era of myth will be well before the timeline of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Focus: the canonical Imprisoning War that established the foundation for the events of Tears of the Kingdom. Canonical status: the game's official placement on the Zelda timeline makes it a canonical part of the series, unlike the ultimate timeline created by Age of Calamity. Relationship to Tears of the Kingdom: The game explores the events leading to Link's final act in Tears of the Kingdom, potentially showing Princess Zelda's internal rival in ancient Hyrule and interactions with King Rauru. Purpose? Age of Imprisonment aims to tell a story of the Imprisoning War in a canonical way, resolving some of the narrative complexes introduced by Tears of the Kingdom. And that leads to another thing. Some people have some issues about Age of Imprisonment, saying that it should have just been a DLC or a part of Tears of the Kingdom, which, why are you being that way when we're getting a whole game based off the Imprisoning War and it's gonna be epic? Like, have you looked at the graphics from the trailers? It looks amazing. So I don't know why you're throwing a fit over a whole game based off of something we didn't receive in another game, because it already looks good. So just enjoy yourself and play the game. But I think that might be it. If there's anything else I might add, because this is already part 2 of Legend of Zelda Age of Imprisonment, everything you need to know 2. So if you guys have any more questions, I can try and make a part 3 and just keep going. But I think that might be the end of this video with everything, unless maybe we can talk about the potential thing in the timeline, because people don't know where Age of Imprisonment fits in the timeline, if it's before, after Skyward Sword, and that whole thing, since it's the original founding of Hyrule and all of that. So once the game comes out, hopefully that gets all figured out. Now, another thing about Age of Imprisonment is that it's going to be a Switch 2 only game, I think, because every new Nintendo system that Nintendo has made, a new Nintendo or a new Zelda game is made only for that system. And that's why I think that Age of Imprisonment is going to be a Switch 2 exclusive game. So if you don't have a Switch 2 already, or don't have enough money to get one, or just don't want to get one at all, then I'm sorry, but I don't think you can play Age of Imprisonment unless you're very lucky and have a friend or a family member that has a Switch 2. But anything else I might add? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything else I can add. And don't you guys never saw that. Okay. So I think that might be the actual end of this video. So guys, thank you for watching. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. And if you guys haven't seen the masterworks for Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom, they're amazing, because look at how Ganondorf could have looked. This looks so much cooler than what we have. Like, he still looks cool, but let me see. That looks even cooler though. Look at that. That one doesn't. That's just a monster. that's Ganon with beast arms. That's Ganon with a huge metal plating arm. Ganon with beast horns. That's a fat Ganon. And then this Ganon, which that's the one I really like. That just speaks Bringer Demise. This one kind of does, but this one completely sells the idea of the Bringer of Demise. And think that might be it. So let me see here. Yeah, you have this whole thing. So let's see here. You have Skyward Sword, then you have Minish Cap, Four Swords, Ocarina of Time, and then that's where it splits. Now, Zelda goes back in time in Tears of a Kingdom, goes to like about here-ish, then goes all the way back. So that means she can't just go through and forward from one timeline. All the timelines must have connected at one point or another, and that's why Tears of the Kingdom might be separate and Breath of the Wild, because maybe they don't want to connect it yet or something. But let me just search up Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and TOTK. Where are they on the timeline? The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom were placed by Nintendo at the end of the official timeline. After all other games and timelines, for the exact nature of this placement, whether a single timeline or a converged one is left ambiguous. These games take place over 10,000 years after the events of the other games, and Tears of the Kingdom includes a historical flashback that precede Breath of the Wild's present day events. Placement at the end of the timeline. I got the official stance. It's at the very end, blah blah blah, and all of that. So that's some of that. Don't any more stuff for Age of Imprisonment? I don't think so, but let me think. We talked about, I think, everything, but then again, I don't really know. I think that concludes it. So, thanks for watching to the very end of Hyrule or Age of Imprisonment, everything you need to know. And just make sure in the comments down below, I want some better YouTuber names, and then also possible video ideas, because I love being a YouTuber, but it's hard for me to come up with video ideas on my own. And also just tell me your thoughts, and this video, as well as the first part, because this is the second part. This is going to be a two-part series of talking about Age of Imprisonment, but it's going to pretty much kind of be the same thing, maybe be a little different, but they're going to both be premieres. Part 1 is going to be a premiere at 6:30 p.m. Local time, and then this part 2 is going to be at 7 p.m. local time, so make sure you guys schedule that, and maybe get some hype for those two videos, because I'm going to be watching them, seeing your guys' live comments, if there even is any, if you guys even want to watch that video, see if there's any actual hype for it. But until then, make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below, and make sure to hit that notification bell. Well, if any people still do that, because honestly, most people just like and subscribe, and not a lot of people, and some people comment, and I don't think a lot of people actually hit the notification bell, that I know of at least. But and this concludes another video of the Cosmic Theorist. So until then, see you next time.